The Lyran Commonwealth was formed in 2340 as an amalgamation of three smaller mutual defence leagues, the Tamar Pact, the Federation of Skye, and the Protectorate of Donegal. The original Lyran capital was on the planet Arcturus. Shortly after the outbreak of hostilities between the Commonwealth and the Draconis Combine in 2407, however, the Lyran government moved to its current location on Tharcad. Soon after, leadership of the Commonwealth passed from Alistair Marston to his only heir, Catherine Marston Steiner, and remains in Steiner hands to this day. The Lyran Commonwealth currently consists of about 400 worlds. During the course of the first three succession wars, it had been slowly but steadily losing ground to the Draconis Combine, which had taken over almost a fourth of the original Lyran territories, including more than half of the old Tamar Pact worlds along the Combine border. The fourth succession war saw the complete reversal of that trend, however, with the Lyrans capturing 53 Kurita worlds while only losing 2. That House Steiner retained these worlds during the 20 years between the end of the Fourth War and the invasion of the clans says much about the strengths of the Federated Commonwealth. However, the Inner Sphere has been hard-pressed to stand up to the clan invasion, and the Lyran Commonwealth has been second only to the Free Razelhag Republic in number of worlds lost. One reason that House Steiner has remained a formidable force in successor state politics even in the worst of times is that its domain includes some of the most richly endowed planets in the Inner Sphere. These include Alarion, Coventry, Donegal, Summer, Tamar, New Karlsruhe, and Hesperus II. The latter is a site of the Star League's largest surviving military supply depots and the largest still functioning mech manufacturing and repair facility in the successor states. Regardless of its military fortunes, the Lyran Commonwealth has consistently maintained its reputation for making money. Until many of its most industrialised worlds fell to the clan invaders, the Commonwealth's overall industrial output, particularly of non-military goods, outstripped that of the other successor states. Even today, only the Free Worlds League surpasses the Commonwealth's GMP per capita. This economic strength has made the Steiner House currency the most stable in the Inner Sphere. Some of this success is due to the human ingenuity, and some to the rich natural resources of the average Lyran member world, and to the relatively small amount of war damage sustained to industrial plants of a few key remote worlds. Over the years, the Archons of House Steiner have consistently sponsored innovative economic and trade policies, such as major tax advantages for industrial reconstruction projects, awarding land grants to successful entrepreneurs and victorious MechWarriors, and encouraging the activities of free traders. Many of these policies are still presently in force. Though the skill of the Steiner military is considerable, particularly in defence of its own worlds, there have been many inglorious defeats. It seems inconceivable that the successor state with the best equipped armed forces should be periodically humiliated. Some of this ineptitude is due to the Commonwealth's lack of light and mobile mechs. Though there are a few factories producing light mechs, the numbers are meagre and the machines so notoriously unreliable that they usually end up on garrison duty. Only recently, with the upgrading of subsidiary plants, has the quality of light Steiner mechs improved. The small number of Commonwealth light mechs has made it difficult for combat officers to become familiar with the capabilities of these swift machines. The word amongst other pilots of the Inner Sphere used to be, if a mech didn't weigh more than 50 tons, a Steiner officer would scoff and think it was a minor threat. If it managed to destroy a major target, the officer would curse and call it blind luck. If the officer survived having his mech shot out from under him, he would get up, smile, and stupidly consider himself fortunate that the enemy didn't have a larger mech. The enemy soon discovered and exploited the Steiner inability to cope with speedy opponents. The Commonwealth commanders either could not, or would not, correct this weakness, which left them with a stilted, plodding approach to mech tactics. For the commanders of the LCAF, the only way to combat fast mechs was to be sure that they had enough massive mechs to wade into the opponent and crush the enemy with sheer weight and numbers. This military philosophy resulted in even more demands for heavy mechs, creating even less light mech manufacturing. The vicious cycle reached its nadir when 3 battlemech assembly lines were retooled for light mech designs to heavier ones in the late 2900s. This negative feeding loop of wooden thinking points to another basic problem within the Commonwealth military: the lack of skills amongst many of its senior officers. Most of these military clove horses got their positions not by skill or merit, but through political connections and bribery. The scheming atmosphere that is so prominent in the royal court is even sharper in the halls of Asgard and Tharcad City. Generalships are more often decided by scrutinising the candidate's lineage than whether he has the past experience. Even when a candidate lacks the right connections of title or landholding, he can make it up by placing the appropriate sums of cash in the appropriate hands. The lack of skilled men in high positions explains the LCAF's lack of military imagination, though does not pardon it. Even those officers who did win their post on merit often find themselves afraid of performing too well, for fear that they may lose their post by showing someone else up as how incompetent he is. The recent Stilson incident is an excellent example of how corruption works in the LCAF. Stilson was able to enter Nagelring Military Academy after his father, Duke Stilton of New Exford, made a cash donation to the local chapter of veterans of the Succession Wars. They, in turn, agreed to sponsor the young man, and after barely graduating, he became a MechWarrior in the 4th Lyran Regulars. After a year, during which he had 2 accidents that landed his battlemaster face first in the dirt, Stilson was saved from dismissal after his father pulled a few strings. Instead of being booted out of the military, he was promoted to Hauptmann. Another month went by and Stilson made yet another call to his father, complaining about the heavy responsibility of leading men. No one was surprised when he was promoted yet again to First Lieutenant Colonel, and shortly after to Lieutenant General. All this less than a year after Stilson had graduated from the academy. This circus of corruption only ended when a commandant and administration got wind of the goings-on and blew the whistle. Since the incident was uncovered in 3017, Katrina Steiner has led a near crusade to clean up the military, especially the senior officers in high command. Her efforts have included strengthening the Judge Advocate General's office, which is the Lyran military's legal and ethical branch. The JAG has recently had some success in ridding the High Command of Deadwood when it dismissed 3 officers for embezzling, one of these being a general. The officers have been caught skimming funds intended for purchase of medical supplies for MASH units along the periphery. Meanwhile, the Archon herself has written a new course in military ethics which is now required of every cadet in all Commonwealth military academies except, of course, the Blackjack School of Conflict. Alessandro Steiner was actually the first to vary from the accepted tactics of the Commonwealth military. Though his innovations eventually led to his downfall, Alessandro's ideas, such as modelling recon units after those of the Eridani Light Horse, did revitalise the military. Katrina Steiner continues this trend by emphasising light mech production and the promotion of more officers according to proven skill and ability and not their wealth. One of her first innovations was the creation of the Witch Hunts of Gypsum and Baker III. These large military exercises held on the Barren Worlds every 3rd year are an effort to train all branches of the military to work together. The culmination of the exercise is the hunting down and mock destruction of the Witch, the name given to a light and mobile unit such as Winfield's Brigade or the Stealth Tigers, which play the hunted enemy. Whether or not the LCAF can be swept clean of corruption, the actions of recent Archons have definitely halted its corrosive effect. With the recent Steiner-Davian alliance, there should be further improvement, as the 2 militaries provide one another with feedback and example.